Hey guys, today we're going to be testing out a new brand that I just found at Walmart where everything is under $5 and almost everything I'm going to show you today is under $3. And this is the ReLove brand from Makeup Revolution. I think it actually launched a while ago over in Europe, but this is the first time I'm seeing it here in the US, and it is in Walmart stores and also on their website. I haven't always loved everything that Makeup Revolution comes out with. In fact, they're usually more of a miss for me than a hit, but at the same time, I love that more brands are coming out with these affordable lines. Another one I could think of off the top of my head is Believe Beauty at Dollar General, and Essence has also been keeping their prices pretty low. Profusion's another one. But I just feel like most drugstore brands, even e.l.f., are just raising their prices so much that I love to see prices that are still $5 and less, especially when so many people are struggling to feed their families, pay their rent. So I'm hoping for the best with this one. I'm not going to hold my breath, but hopefully I'll find a few hidden gems. So let's go ahead and jump in with the first product, and it is their Glam Balm Lip Balm. I'm just going to put this on while I do the rest of my makeup because my lips are feeling a little bit dry today. So this comes in many different flavors. I ended up getting the Pretty Peach one. I wasn't sure if it was going to actually have any color to it because it comes in these little opaque tubes, but when I squeezed a little bit out on my hand, it does have a very pale peachy color. I don't know that it's really going to add a lot of color to my lips, but it does have a really nice cushiony feel to it. It feels like it's going to be very hydrating, and it has a nice peachy scent as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit on. It feels really nice on the lips too. It's actually not as thick as I thought it was going to be. It was kind of thick to squeeze out of the tube, but when you're actually putting it on, it thins out a little bit. I guess it kind of just melts in. So I like it. It feels like a really nice lip balm. It doesn't add any color that I can see, but it did make my lips a little bit smoother and they feel really nice. So moving on to the next product, by the way, that was $2.98, which most of the products I'm going to talk about today are, with the exception of the two face products. So the first one is the Power Fix Primer, and this is $4.98. When I first saw this, I kind of thought by the name that it might be similar to the Power Grip Primer or the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, that maybe this could possibly be a dupe, but the formula and the feel of it is totally different. The e.l.f. one and the Milk Makeup are more of a gel-like texture, and this one comes out of the tube looking a little bit creamier, almost like a lotion, but it does have that thicker, more cushiony silicone feel to it. So I'm curious to see if this is going to dry down to kind of more of a matte finish like a lot of silicone primers, or if it's going to leave my face with more of that sticky feel to help grip the makeup. So let's try this out. I do really like how silky this feels. I almost prefer it to the e.l.f. one because that one does feel very sticky, and I know that's kind of the whole point, but I like the slightly thicker texture of this one. It just feels kind of creamier. It feels nicer on my dry skin. I guess maybe somebody with oily skin might like a gel a little bit better, but this one also seems to have pore smoothing properties. It just makes my skin look a little bit smoother, and I feel like the e.l.f. doesn't do that. I should also mention that this has a watermelon scent. It smells a lot like the Glow Recipe watermelon stuff, and now that it's on my face, it actually does feel a little bit sticky. So that is what we want in a gripping primer. It didn't completely like sink in and just leave a matte finish, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, there are definitely things that I like about this over the e.l.f. and the Milk Makeup ones, and if this also works to grip your foundation, it might be a really good option for those of us with drier skin. The next product I got is their Super Serum Hyaluronic Acid Foundation. So it comes in a little dropper style bottle. It's actually a glass bottle versus plastic, which is really nice. And I got the shade F2, which said that it has a cooler undertone. And I really like this color. I feel like I got the best color right on the first try. And I kind of wonder if this might be similar to the L'Oreal Serum Foundation that everybody was talking about a while back. So many people love that one, but I felt like it made my skin look so dry. And I think it's because it has a high amount of denatured alcohol in the formula. This ReLove one doesn't have any alcohol in the formula. So again, it might be a better option for those of us with dry skin. So let's see. Just gonna put a little bit on, and then I'm gonna blend it with my BK Beauty foundation brush. It does have a really nice thin texture, so I love that. I'm just gonna put it on one side of my face and then we'll be able to see what the coverage is like. Okay, so this actually has way better coverage than I was expecting. You can see the difference, my face over here with the product versus without. It hid the redness around my nose really easily, and it also mostly hid my dark spots. And it seems to have a satin finish. There's a little bit of glow to it, but it's not overly glowy or matte. So I'm just gonna do the other side really quick, and then we'll take a really close close-up look. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom you guys in. We'll take a closer look. So far, I think this is looking pretty good. It's a lot more coverage than I was expecting. So I think I used a little bit more of the foundation than I really needed to. I was expecting a serum foundation to be very light coverage, and that is not the case. It was probably a solid medium. I'm just gonna keep an eye on my cheek areas and my nose throughout the day because I feel like I'm noticing my pores just a little bit more than I usually do. So I'm concerned that this may settle into them at the end of the day. And it was also a little bit streaky as I was blending it on my nose. So I'm curious to see how it holds up in that area of my face. So far, I think it looks pretty good, but we're definitely gonna have to see how it settles into my skin. Moving on, they had some liquid eyeshadows that I thought looked so pretty. These are called the Eye Lights. These are $2.98. And I got two shades, Bling, which is a gorgeous lavender metallic, and then Queen, which is a really pale gold. And I was actually impressed when I swatched these initially at the pigmentation that they have. They didn't seem like they were gonna be super streaky or patchy. They built up really nicely. So I can't wait to try them on my eyes and see how they wear throughout the day. I'm just gonna use the Stone Cold Fox palette from ColourPop to just add a couple of crease colors. And then I think I'm gonna use the lavender one on my lid today. So I'm gonna start out with the shade Stranger first. And I'm just applying this to my crease and blending up toward the brow bone. This is like my go-to crease color from this palette because it's the perfect, like just one shade darker than my natural skin tone. And I also love the cool undertone that it has. It's a beautiful taupe. Next, I'm going to deepen things up with the shade Ghost Town. I'm just going to apply this a little bit lower down in my crease. And this is a cool tone pinky brown. All right, and then for the outer corner, I'm just going to use the shade Obsidian down here. I'm applying this with the BK Beauty 209 brush, which is just a little small flat brush. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the shade Bling. And I'm just gonna put this on my lid from the inner corner to probably about the middle. And I'm just gonna blend it a little bit with my finger. Sometimes liquid eyeshadows don't behave well if you touch it with your finger, so I don't know how this one's gonna go. Sometimes you just have to kind of apply them with the wand and just leave them. This one kind of seems to be breaking up a little bit if I touch it. Yeah, that really didn't work out so well. So I think what I'm gonna do is put a little bit on my finger maybe and just try patting it on that way. I'm wondering if I should have used my glitter primer. I didn't even really think of that. So the issue with these is that when I press it with my finger just lifts the product right back off again. So it leaves like a patchy appearance. I'm gonna try to use my glitter primer on the other eye and see if that helps. So this is the NYX glitter primer, and it just is like a really sticky base to help things to grip better. It seems to be working a little bit better. Actually, no, it didn't. What if I just apply the shadow with the applicator and just kind of let it set? Let me try that. I just feel like it applies so much, it's gonna get really goopy. So this seems to just be working the best, to just apply it with the applicator and don't touch it with your finger. The second you do that, it's going to lift the product up. But that being said, this is still not applying smoothly at all. It looks really patchy. I think it's safe to say this is a pretty big fail, but you know what? We have to show the bad with the good. So I'm just kind of disappointed because they swatched really nicely. So let's move on. We have the Long Lash Lengthening Mascara. They had two different versions that I saw. There was a volumizing one. This is the lengthening version. This is also $2.98. It has somewhat of a thin brush, and it's the old traditional style mascara wand. It's the softer bristles versus the silicone ones. Honestly, I've tried so many great drugstore mascaras lately. I'm not expecting this to really wow me, but a lot of those are also like $13, $14 these days. So something that costs only $3 could be a much better option for a lot of people. So let's see how this is. So far, it feels like a bit of a drier formula. I'm probably gonna have to build this up quite a bit. It seems like it has a little bit of a moussey feel, but it also feels a little bit sticky. So far, it's not clumping my lashes, which I really like. All right, so this gave me quite a bit of length, not as much as my current favorite lengthening formula, which is the L'Oreal Original Telescopic. That one makes my lashes huge. This one, I think it did a pretty decent job at lengthening, but it also feels like a thicker, heavier formula. So if you have finer, thinner lashes or straight lashes and you want them to kind of hold a curl, I don't know that this this one will do that, but of course I will test it throughout the day today and we'll see how it holds my lashes up. I do feel like it's a pretty decent mascara so far. Let's move on to some cheek products. So these are the baby tint, and these are supposed to be a lip and cheek tint, so you can use it on both. I got 3 different shades, but there are more of them out there, and these are also $2.98. I got the shades Rose, Blush, and Coral, and these have a feel similar to the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain, so they're not a matte formula. They do have a little bit of glossiness to them, but then they dry down eventually and leave kind of a stain behind. So I'm curious to see if I like these on my cheeks or my lips better. Normally for my cheeks, I like something to dry down all the way, and for lips, I don't like things that dry down all the way because then they're too drying. Very rarely do I like a product on both my lips and my cheeks, so we'll have to see. But this is the color Rose. So this is the lightest pink that I had. I'm just gonna put a few dots on my cheek and blend with my finger. It's actually quite pigmented, especially for being a lighter shade. And even though it initially has that stickier feel, it's actually sinking into my skin very quickly. So if you're blending, I would work quickly with this one. Don't like put it on both cheeks and then go back. I would work on one cheek at a time. I'm just gonna build it up a little bit more. I'm gonna try blending with a brush. This is the Profusion buffing foundation brush. I like using this for cheek products because it's a smaller size. The color is gorgeous, and when I touch it, it's like the slightest bit sticky, but I feel like it is going to dry down. Okay, that is beautiful. I love this color. All right, let me go over here. And liquid blushes are so big right now. I love having an option that's like $3. This is also the lightest shade. The other 2 colors that I got, I think would show up even more. I layered this one twice, but I don't think you would have to do that with the other colors if you have a skin tone like mine, because these have quite a bit of pigmentation to them. It also doesn't seem to have a scent to it either, which is great. I also just want to try this on my lips really quick. So we'll see how it works for that. It has sort of that cushiony feel, but it quickly sinks into your lips and kind of gives more of a blurred effect. That actually seems nice. If this doesn't dry out my lips, it might be one of those rare products that I like for both my cheeks and my lips. If I touch my cheeks right now, yeah, they're just the slightest bit tacky, but I wouldn't even say they're sticky. I think this is gonna be gone pretty shortly. Speaking of cheeks, they also have these blush duos. These are also $2.98, and they have a blush on one side and a highlighter on the other. They actually remind me a lot of the e.l.f. bite-sized face duos, except they're much bigger than the e.l.f. ones. And actually they're the same price as the e.l.f., and I do prefer the ReLove packaging only because with a blush, it's easier to get a bigger brush into a pan size like this versus the e.l.f. ones are kind of small. So I got 3 different shades. We have Sweet, which is a really pale pink blush and a champagne golden highlight. Then we have Queen, which is a peachy blush and also a peachy highlight. I think those would look great if you just mix the 2 together. And then the last one I have is Kindness, which has a really pretty dusty rose blush and a brighter yellow gold highlight. So I'm not sure that I really want to add more blush to my face at this point, but I do want to try these. So I'm going to try the Sweet one, which is the really light shade. And I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm actually going to mix the blush with the highlighter, so we'll just mostly add a little bit of glow. The highlighter is very smooth. It's really refined on the skin. It really doesn't look heavy or chunky at all for a powder highlight. That just adds a beautiful glow. And I actually just put some blush on my nose, and now I'm kicking myself for doing that because I wanted to see how the foundation wore on my nose and whether it came off. And now I'm not really gonna be able to tell because if I see the redness, I won't know if it's blush or if the foundation just wore off, but maybe I'll still be able to tell. I don't know. And then for lips, we have the Baby Gloss. I just got it in one shade to try. So this is the shade Glam. It comes in the same packaging as the eyelights and the baby tints. And I was actually shocked when I swatched this at how much pigmentation it has. It's a really full pigment lip gloss. And it has sort of a vanilla coconut scent. It reminds me a little bit of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lips and the way that those smell. So I know some people love coconut scent, other people hate it. So I just wanted to mention that. It's not super strong. I don't feel like you'll notice it that much, but let's see. I'm just gonna put this on top of the lip stain that I already have on. This is so pigmented. I actually really like the color too. It's a soft, cool tone pink. So I'm gonna go about the rest of my day. I will be back to do a final check-in, but as of right now, everything that I applied seems great with the exception of the eyeshadow because that's a complete disaster. And also the mascara is okay, not my favorite, but I really like all of the face products so far and the lip products as well. By the way, I didn't get any brow products or powder eyeshadows, but they do have those on the Walmart website as well. I may try them out at a later time, but these are just the things that kind of really interested me right off the start. So anyway, I'll be back about 8 hours from now and we'll see how everything held up. Hey guys, it's been about 7.5 hours since I applied everything. I wanted to go to 8 hours, but I'm kind of sneaking this in right before dinner. I had a little bit of time, so I figured I would just let you know my thoughts. Let's start with the things I wasn't as crazy about. The first one are these Eyelight metallic eyeshadows. Granted, I didn't try the gold one, but this one is really just awful. I actually took some video of it when I was sitting in the car waiting for my son to get out of school. And in the natural lighting, I think you can see even more just how patchy and chunky this looks. It really looks terrible. I honestly can't wait to wash it off. So I really do not like this. I don't recommend these. Also, the mascara was okay. I mean, it definitely didn't smudge under my eyes, which is a good thing. And I thought that it would weigh down my lashes because it's a heavier, kind of thicker formula. And I think it did maybe just slightly, but my lashes still surprisingly look pretty curled up. I just don't feel like this gives me the longest lashes. For a lengthening formula, I just felt like it was okay. Also, the Serum foundation, I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit more. I felt like it just looked a little bit makeup-y on me, and I'm not sure if that's the primer underneath that's doing that, or if maybe I just applied too much because I was thinking it was going to be very light coverage and I did kind of go in with a heavy layer. So I may try this again and just do it a little bit lighter because I felt like it just kind of sat in my pores and it looked a little bit more noticeable. I have to play around with it, but the one thing that I was really happy about is that unlike the L'Oreal Serum foundation, at least this didn't make my skin look super dry, so it has that going for it. And I have to say, the foundation held up really well all day. So I don't know if it's the foundation itself or if it's the scripting primer, but I kind of want to say it's this because usually serum foundations tend to rub off on me the fastest. I don't see anything rubbing off on my nose, my chin, my forehead. Everything is really covered and it looks pretty much the way that it did when I applied it. So I do really like the primer. I am going to try this with other foundations in my collection, ones that I wear on a daily basis, and see if this really helps to extend the wear. And like I said, I am going to try this on bare skin and over some of my other primers as well. I feel like you just can't really tell about a foundation in one review. I'll be sure to do an update video on all of the new drugstore makeup that I've tried so far this year because there's been so much of it and I really want to just rank everything from best to worst. So I'll be sure to let you guys know about these at that point. But that being said, they're $5. So if you want to take the risk on it, it's not that big of a risk. Also, as far as the lip balm goes, I thought this was really nice. It's just a basic everyday lip balm. I didn't feel like it was super special, but it kept my lips feeling hydrated and it felt really nice and smooth. So I would definitely use it again. And then as far as the stars of the show, definitely the baby gloss. I really like this gloss a lot. It has so much pigmentation. Love the color. I love the way that it looks on my lips. It's not super long lasting like most glosses, so you are gonna have to reapply it. It does transfer, but I thought this was a really nice lip gloss and for $3, definitely worth it. Also the baby tints, I really love these. I think these are amazing. Cream blushes, it's still going strong. The color that I used, which again was rose, and it was a really light color, but it's still showing up. It did fade a little bit more, I think, on my lips just because I've been eating and drinking, but it held on great on my cheeks. And again, such a good price for a cream blush if you're only going to use it for that, but I did really like them on my lips. I actually want to try this one since that one wore off. This is the blush shade. I just want to see what it looks like for fun, so let's see. This one was just a little bit darker, but not too much. Ooh, this is actually like a Your Lips But Better color. Even though it's a stain, it still feels soft. It has a little bit of a blurred effect, so I love these. I think they're an awesome 2-in-1 product, and I also really like the blush duos. At least the one that I tried, I felt like the highlighter was so smooth, and I still see that going strong too. It has a lot of sheen, but I didn't notice a lot of glitter particles. There's no chunkiness. It's just a really beautiful, smooth highlight. And even the ones that have the darker highlights in them that I normally wouldn't use for my skin tone, you can just mix the blush with the highlight together and just kind of make it a glowy blush. I think that would be so pretty, and these are an absolute steal at $3. So overall, I'm pretty surprised. Usually Makeup Revolution doesn't really thrill me that much, but I definitely found some solid products here, and really there was only one that was a complete fail, which were these eyeshadows. Everything else I tried was either decent or really great. So I love that there's this option at Walmart. Everything under $5. I'm excited to try some more things from this line for sure. So I would love to hear your thoughts on these. Have you tried anything from the ReLove brand, or have you seen it at your local Walmart? Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, if you enjoy drugstore makeup reviews and content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll go ahead and put up a playlist of my recent drugstore makeup reviews right here for you to check out next if you have some time. And I want to thank you all so much for spending time with me here on my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.